Time to bring you news on this channel. I am Mamudu Gajaga and thanks for joining us. Our top stories: President Barrow received letters of credence from the new U.S. ambassador and two others. Diplomats vowed to foster cooperation with the Gambia. Edward Singate shot me on the leg. Witness tells TRRC Corporal Alaji Kebe says I was in pain, yet I was chained at mile 2. Also, the story of a 13-year-old student gardener whose backyard garden is yielding fruits. Those are our main news stories. Now the news in detail. President Adama Barrow on Tuesday received the letters of credence of the new U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Richard Pascal III. The UN resident coordinator, Sarafina Wakana, and the Burkina Faso ambassador, Jacob Ouedraogo, also presented their letters of credence. Aliou Cisse reports.
Officially sworn in on March 7, 2019 as U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Ambassador Richard arrived in the country on March 14, 2019 to assume his new diplomatic assignment. He has been a career diplomat since 1991. And over this period, the new U.S. ambassador has served in leadership positions in the Bureau of African Affairs, at the State Department, at the U.S. embassies in Iraq and Chad, and as foreign policy advisor to the commander of the Special Operations Command Africa. His most recent assignment has been as the Deputy Coordinator for Military Coordination and Operations in the Bureau of Counterterrorism at the State Department. Shortly after meeting President Barrow, he told reporters that the U.S. government will support the people of the Gambia to realize the goals of the government's National Development Plan.
United States activities span a wide range of activities, from an emerging Millennium Challenge Corporation Threshold Program partner to improve energy generation and distribution in the country, to providing technical assistance to the Ministry of Finance in terms of budgeting, revenue generation, and debt management, to providing advice to the security sector reform program here, continuing to support education as a primary basis for growth, and a wide range of other activities, to include seeking to attract investment in the Gambia to help the Gambians move the economy forward.
Having been in the country for a few months now, the UN resident coordinator in the Gambia, Sarafina Wakana, was also at the State House to present her credentials to the Gambian leader. The UN agencies play a significant role in the development of the country. Wakana said this is something she will want to see continue during the transition period.
For the UN, we are really happy to see that the country is moving on different reform areas, and we are working on transitional justice. And you know what is happening. We supported the installation of the Truth and Reconciliation and Reparations Committee. We are also supporting the government to work on the security sector reform. This is also a key area for reform for the Gambia. But we do have other issues that we are addressing, like migration. We have agencies working on the issue of migration, supporting returnees, but also working on how we can prevent the issue of migration.
The last to present his credentials to President Barrow was the ambassador of Burkina Faso. With his embassy based in Dakar, Ambassador Jacob thanked President Barrow for accepting his letters of credence. He vowed to further strengthen the ties between Ouagadougou and Banjul for the benefit of both countries. More ambassadors are expected to present their credentials to President Barrow in the coming days. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Former Army Corporal Alaji Kebe on Tuesday accused former AFPRC Junta Vice Chairman Edward Singate of shooting him in the leg. He said Singate had accused him of complicity in the plan to overthrow the military junta in November 1994. He made these disturbing revelations while testifying as a witness at the ongoing Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission ongoing public hearings. Ansumana Esunyasi reports.
Ex-Army Corporal Alaji Kebe Tuesday testified in relation to the November 11 incident and his subsequent victimization. In his testimony, the witness alleged that former Junta Vice Chairman Edward Singate shot him in the leg after accusing him of being a member of a group of soldiers who were allegedly plotting to overthrow the AFPRC regime in November 1994. He made these disturbing revelations while testifying as a witness at the ongoing Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission's public hearings. The witness also alleged he was subjected to various forms of maltreatment while in detention at Mile 2 prison. Narrating his ordeal, the witness alleged he was living with his family at Union Barracks at the time of the incident. He told the commission that he evacuated his family to his in-laws' house in Banjurunding after he had gunshots at the main yard on the night of 10th November 1994. Further testifying, he alleged that 3 days later, he was arrested by Bachamba Jallo, Buba Jame and Lamin Fati, who were all serving as orderlies to council members at the time. He also alleged he was put in a car boot for 5 hours.
Upon doing my supplementary prayers, that I heard the sound, Kopun Kebe, come out, Kopun Kebe, come out. So, before getting out of the house, there is one civilian who came in. I don't know whether he came from these people who were shouting. So he just said, your people are here. So I walked out. I saw Sergeant Fati, Lamin Fati, Bachsamba Jalo, Lance Corporal Jamme Kanilai. I don't know the first name, whether it's Buba or Bakari, I don't know. But we used to call him Kanilai because it's a relative Jamme. So they came with a small car, the one Peter or Edward was driving, those small Toyotas. So they said, I'm on arrest. I said, what? They said, that's what we are here just to arrest you. I said, okay. I wanted to board the vehicle. They said, no. They opened the boot and said, get inside. So I get inside the boot. I was squeezed there, a very small boot, and they locked the boot.
Further testifying, the witness alleged that after shooting him on the leg, Edward Singate had wanted to kill him, but he was stopped by Sana Savali.
So Sana was sitting on the table. At my left-hand side, there was a camp there where Edward was sitting. I think it's good. I don't see him trying to aim to shoot at me. It could have been more worse on my side. Maybe I will try to defend myself from that bullet that it can touch me somewhere which will do more harm than good.
So the shot came from Edward?
From Edward. So it passed through this left leg and buried itself inside this right one. I fall down. Edward rose and put the pistol on here to finish me, but he was shouted by Sana, stop it. That's the time he stopped.
What was the last name of Edward?
Edward Singate.
25 years after that incident, the bullet is still in your right thigh?
Yeah, it's still here.
On his alleged victimization, the witness accused he was detained at the barracks and later transferred to Mile 2 prison in confinement, number 4, cell number 2. There he said he was denied access to a lawyer or family visit, nor was he receiving any medical treatment. He also alleged he was put in chains by prison wardens even though he was in serious pain. He also told the commission that his incarceration had a serious impact on his family as they were told he was executed. After 4 years in detention, the witness accused he was released from prison. At this juncture, he produced a certificate which was allegedly issued to him by the junta, relieving him of his services with the army. Ironically, the certificate showed he voluntarily retired from the army in 1999, but he maintained he was released in 1998 and not 1999 as indicated on the certificate. The certificate was then tendered as exhibit. Ansumana Sonyasi for QTV News.
A 13-year-old girl transforms her backyard into a vegetable garden. She used the skills she learned from her agri-science lessons at school. Babukar Sise reports.
School gardens reconnect students with the natural world and the true source of their food and teach them valuable gardening and agricultural concepts and skills. Maude Bojang is a grade 6 student at Mansakoli Bojang Lower Basic School in Jalambang, West Coast Region. With a passion for gardening, the skills she acquired at school are now paying off at home.
I have onion, okra, banana, cassava, sweet pepper, tomato, and carrot. The money I get from the garden, I put it inside a box. And when I open the box, I buy some clothes, shoes, bags, even this clothes I am wearing, I buy it from the money. I start this garden on the 15th December 2018.
Her mother, Nyima Jata, says they always encourage her, and the garden also serves as a source of food for the family.
She started gardening at the school, at Mansakoli Lower Basic School in Jalamba. And she came and told me that she wants to have a small garden at home. Then we gave her this small place, and she occupied this place. She make her own garden. So we also encourage her. So now this is the garden, and sometimes she sells the vegetables, and she have her own money there. She used to buy some clothes for herself, and sometimes when I am cooking, I used to cut some and buy from her. I give her the money. She used to put the money in a small box and keep it for herself.
The proprietor of Jalambang Lower Basic and Upper Basic School, Mukhtar Bojang, said agriculture is important and children are encouraged to practice gardening at home.
Agriculture is a very big part of our school. Well, that's because it's the main backbone of the Gambia economy. And our children, they start agriculture here as early as grade 3, which is like 10 years of age mostly, and they will be allocated to a bed, and it's a compulsory subject, and the agric teacher will make sure he examine the beds and make sure the kids get it watered twice a day, and the produce from the bed, 30% of the produce will be used for the school garden or the school lunches, and 70% will be used for their home consumption. And also we encourage them to have beds at home. So we encourage the children to grow their own food rather than rely on imported food.
The 13-year-old girl has some advice for her friends.
I am encouraging my fellow students to do gardening. Gardening is very important because you can get money from it.
The garden may not be a big one compared to others, but for now, this young student is enjoying the fruits of her labor. Babukar Sise, QTV News.
President Adama Barrow has given his blessings to a major food security drive by the Gambia Armed Forces to begin large-scale agricultural production in the Gambia. In his capacity as the Commander-in-Chief and Minister of Defense, the President on Monday received stakeholders of the scheme, the Command of the Armed Forces and their partners from South Africa, ACCO Corporation, to acquire first-hand detailed information about the fundamental components of the project. Here is Babukar C. with more on the release.
The ACCO Corporation, which is an American company that has its regional headquarters in South Africa, is a global leader in the design, manufacture, and distribution of agricultural equipment. The company has similar partnership with the Egyptian army and other military entities in Africa and around the world to optimize the potentials of their militaries. Following a comprehensive engagement, the President was visibly excited about the prospect of the plan in ensuring meaningful changes that could benefit ordinary Gambians. He assured the leadership of the armed forces and the investment partners of his office's support to bring the objectives of this project to success. The President added that such initiatives present ample opportunities for members of the security services to acquire useful lifelong skills that could be utilized even after active duties. According to officials, their partnership in the Gambia will involve youth, women, smallholder farmers that include a strong network of operators in the production, supply, and processing of agricultural produces exported to the outside world. Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Masane Kinte, who accompanied the delegation, explained that the military's involvement in agricultural production is part of its constitutional requirement. The armed forces, as part of the ongoing reforms, is looking at diversifying its roles and responsibilities in order to reposition itself in the productive sector of the Gambia. CDS Masane Kinte expressed assurance that Gambia Armed Forces has the capacities to feed the nation and export outside of this country while lauding the political, financial and technical support the project has received thus far. Nuruddin Usman, Vice President and General Manager of the Africa Group of the ACO, said their company is the third world largest manufacturer of agricultural equipment in the world and second in poultry productions and eggs. The project concept is to take security beyond the armed security to food security.
The Gambia Prison Service holds a press conference to respond to issues raised during the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission's site visit to prisons mentioned by witnesses in their testimonies. The visit formed part of the TRRC's mandate for institutional reform. Jennifer Sonko was at the press conference at the Prison Service and she now reports.
The TRRC, on its tour of prisons across the country, found a state of affairs that was of some concern. Bed nets were not readily available to all inmates. Inmates' appeals and their pardon suffer long delays. And at Janjanbureh Prison, the commissioners find a juvenile inmate. According to the IPRO of Prison Services, Mamadou Lamin Cisse, the issue of prisoners' pardon by the President is not facilitated solely by the Prison Services but by different committees. He explained that after the committee's recommendations, names of the selected inmates are sent to the Ministry of Justice and later to the Office of the President for approval. IPRO Cisse also gave clarifications in relation to delays in inmates' court appeal.
It's in our Prison Act. If you go by the Act, Section 33 of the Prison Act, spelled about prisoners' right to appeal. Upon admission, they have the right to make up their mind whether to put up an appeal before the higher courts. And those practices are still in place and are observed and are implemented. But you know, the court is an independent body. We have no power over the courts. We process their appeals, forward it to the courts. Those of them, the inmates whose families are well off, will hire a private lawyer to follow up their loved one or family members' appeals at the courts.
He further talked about the use and availability of mosquito nets in Janjanbureh prisons.
There were mosquito nets all over the cells windows in Janjanbureh some time back, because this, I can attest to this during my postings some time back, 2009. But what happened along the line, you know, it's provincial Gambia. The weather is most of the time heating. So when the sunlight portrays on these mosquito nets, you know, they are plastics. Sometimes the heat gets into the cells. So the inmates complain of that heat during my postings there, 2009. And the administration had them fully, and they took a step, that is to move the mosquito nets over the windows and let them keep their medicated, treated mosquito nets individually, so that they will have ample ventilation from outside. That was the issue. I left there and I came back. And since then, I think that was the same procedure they are going. So maybe during the visit, one of the inmates may put this to the TRRC officials, but without knowing the root cause or without engaging his colleague inmates as to why we don't have mosquito nets over with. Had it been he engaged one of his inmates, they will enlighten him as to why.
Cisse added that during the commissioner's site visit to Janjanbureh prison, the commissioner saw a juvenile. He stressed that it is the responsibility of the courts to determine their age, not the prison. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basong.
The University of the Gambia has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the University Technology Malaysia, UTM, to promote student and staff exchange programs between the institutions. The ceremony was held on Tuesday. Ajibintu Drame has more details.
The MOU signed between the two universities will provide the opportunity to students and staff to acquire knowledge through exchange programs. Over the years, about 500 students have studied in Malaysia. University Technology Malaysia is a prominent research university in Malaysia with an international reputation in engineering, science and technology. It currently ranks 53 among the universities in Asia. UTG, the highest learning institution of the Gambia, will benefit enormously from the collaboration. Dr. Aliu Jiba, Senior Lecturer of Business and Agricultural Economics, speaks on the importance of the MOU for students and staff. He says students need such programs to excel and gain skills.
This is what we expect from Gambian ambassadors abroad. It's one of their, this should be one of their priorities, to make sure that the university, the only public university that we have in this country, is supported in the areas of research, training, and exchange of lecturers, exchange of students. This is a laudable initiative by the Honorable Ambassador, because at this university, we need, of course, we need to capacitize our staff, and also the students need to travel abroad to make sure that they gain skills outside. So therefore, this is very important.
Madam Ramzia Diab Ghanim, Gambia High Commissioner to Malaysia, gives a brief description of University Technology Malaysia. Madam Ramzia says the MOU is an opportunity for students to pursue postgraduate programs. She urges administrators to implement the MOU without delay. This is a major linkage that will go a long way for UTG to collaborate with the world-ranked university, she says. Madam Ghanim promised to create more avenues for students to gain scholarships to Malaysia. She extends her gratitude to the UTG and hopes to see more Gambians study in the university.
UTM ranks #3 best research university. Last month, UTM hosted one of the world's most renowned education conferences. The Asia Pacific Association of International Education, APAIE, was hosted with 2,800 delegates, a record number of delegates from all over the world. This was one of the most attended conferences in the world, attended by vice chancellors, top management, and professors of universities. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a major linkage that will go a long way for UTG to collaborate with such a world-ranked university. As UTG is on the path of growth and development, we hope to leverage this linkage for the benefit of Gambia and for the furtherance of the government in general and President Adama Barrow's specific interest in the development of higher education in the Gambia. Among other benefits, this linkage will allow for rewarding exchanges in scholastic collaboration, in scholarly publications, in supervision of PhD programs, and various other scholarships opportunities. The opportunities are there to be taken, and I urge the leadership of UTG to implement this MOU without delay.
Mr. Taru Registrar states what the MOU entails.
Now it is now binding on both institutions, to embrace and fully implement all the issues that are raised. Now there will be staff and student exchange, meaning, staff from University of Malaysia can come over to UTG and vice versa. Now there is also provision for scholarships, capacity development, capacity building. UTG can send staff and, for them to, for skills enhancements and capacity development. So that is what it entails. And there is also possibility of joint research. We can conduct research, share information, joint publications. This is exactly what the MOU entails.
Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Before we end this bulletin of the news, a recap of our main news stories. President Adama Barrow on Tuesday received the letters of credence of the new U.S. ambassador to the Gambia, Richard Pascal III. The UN resident coordinator, Serafina Wakana, and the Burkina Faso ambassador, Jacob Ouedraogo, also presented their letters of credence. Former Army Corporal Alaji Kebe on Tuesday accused former AFPRC junta vice chairman Edward Singate of shooting him in the leg. He said Singate had accused him of complicity in the plan to overthrow the military junta in November 1994. A 13-year-old girl transforms her backyard into a vegetable garden. She used the skills she learned from her agri-science lessons. That's it for this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for another news bulletin.